It's time for Main Street Media Television's exclusive coverage of SEC Media Days, driven by Complete Service Heat and Air, your trusted provider of top-notch heating and cooling solutions, dedicated to ensuring optimal comfort and efficiency for residential and commercial spaces. Complete Service Heat and Air is located in White Bluff, Tennessee. We do service and repair on heating and air in the right way. 24/7 service. Call us at 615-797-3997. Serving Cheatham, Davidson, Dixon, Hickman, Humphreys, Montgomery, and Williamson counties. Now, let's go to downtown Nashville and join Maurice Patton, Chris Yao, and Wade Mealy as they broadcast from the Grand Hyatt.
Welcome into coverage of SEC Football Media Days kickoff event here at the Grand Hyatt on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. We are super pumped about this segment because it's Arkansas and it's the West, and we don't have to worry about it, at least not until Atlanta. And so super excited because we are joined by our neighbor, Ty Richardson, and he's going to talk to us about the Razorbacks. Thanks to our friends at Jeff Grimes and Associates.
Yeah, our coverage of the Arkansas Razorback segment from SEC Media Days is brought to you, it's brought to you by Justin Hilliard at Jeff Grimes and Associates in Clarksville. Justin is a graduate of the University of Tennessee College of Law, where he participated in family law litigation in the Advocacy Clinic, in addition to interning with the Federal Defender's Office. He's currently licensed to practice law in all state courts in Tennessee and is a member of the Tennessee and Clarksville Bar.
Well, I would hope so.
Otherwise,
how would you be licensed to practice law?
It'd be tough to be licensed. Yeah. And anyway, Justin Hilliard, Jeff Grimes and Associates.
Make sure to give Justin a call. Ty Richardson here, Ty of ESPN Radio in Arkansas. How's it going, man?
Guys, it's good. My dad, it's funny, y'all brought me on a law ad. My dad always thought I was going to be a lawyer because how much I like to argue growing up, but I just took the dumber version, which is sports radio, because I wasn't smart enough to pass the bar. It's good to be with you guys.
Well, it's good to have you, man. I guess any discussion of Arkansas football in 2023 really has to start with KJ Jefferson being touted as a Heisman candidate. Arkansas has never had a Heisman Trophy winner. What do you think about KJ being mentioned in those kind of circles, and is he ready for that?
I hope so. 06 and 07 were pretty stinking close with Darren McFadden, but unfortunately Arkansas fans know how that went with Troy Smith and Tim Tebow. KJ's a gamer. Anytime he's in the game, you feel like you have a chance to win if you're an Arkansas fan. Just need some help. I mean, the Heisman Trophy is really a team award nowadays. It's not just given to the best player in college football. It's really the best player on the best team. And I don't know if Arkansas is going to be in that discussion this year. I mean, you're going to have to win in Tuscaloosa, to be honest, if you want to be in that discussion, something Arkansas hasn't done since 2003. So I wish I could sit here and tell you he's going to be in New York at the tail end of the season, but better money's probably not going to be, unfortunately.
But he's certainly an all-SEC caliber quarterback, and just seeing him roaming the halls here today, man, that is a giant dude that's going to be playing QB for the Hogs this year.
6'3", 245 is what they've got him listed at. Now,
just an eye-popping physical specimen. But for those that haven't seen him play a bunch, what are some intangibles that makes this guy so unique that we're having this discussion about him maybe even being in the Heisman Trophy picture?
Well, wait, what I would say to that is he watched Cam Newton. Even in Mississippi, loved watching Cam Newton. And he tried to do the super Cam and Jerry World last year. Didn't necessarily go according to plan with that fumble strip sack. Winning the strip sack. But KJ is so fun to watch. And it was funny. I've never seen a fan base more concerned with the quarterback's weight than they were with KJ last year. They were like, oh, he's coming in too big or whatever. He's slimmed up a little bit. And this is year 5 for KJ Jefferson in Arkansas. Now he's had a couple coaches with Chad Morris and Sam Pittman. Kendall Briles now transitioned to Dan Enos. Of course, had Joe Craddock prior to that. So he's had to transition a little bit, but we saw Hendon Hooker in Knoxville in year what seemed like 10 when he was as old as he was, just take off. That's the jump that I would hope for KJ, where he can explode. They had an incredible offense under Dan Enos in 2015 when he was here. You just hope that synergy that him and Brandon Allen had could be found in 2023 too.
And he's gonna get a lot of the headlines, but I'm curious. Let's go in the trenches for the Hawks. Talk to us a little bit about their offensive line and defensive line, because it seems like in this league in particular, you got to be stout up front if you want to have a good shot at making it to Atlanta.
So it's kind of the inverse. They're up the middle on the offensive line, has the resume, has the experience with some of the guys that they're on the team last year. Braun, who they brought in from Florida, and you're a little more concerned about the tackles. On the defensive side, Landon Jackson, you were mentioning KJ's attribute. Landon's 6'7", like 282. He put on 40 pounds since the bowl game.
I saw that guy walking around here. I want him on my side.
I know.
If anything pops off.
Landon looks like a football player, and he's exactly that. He could be Arkansas's most improved defense, not just defensive player, but maybe overall player. So they have him. They brought in Jeff Coat from Missouri. They brought in John Morgan. They brought in some other guys on the outside. They got Torian Carter back, who played at Mansfield, I think the same high school as Jalen Catalon. Tore his ACL before the season last year, couldn't play. So they were thin in the interior. I still think that's a bigger question mark than the outside. But again, it's the inside of the offensive line you're pretty happy about. The outside of the defensive line, it's not necessarily a weakness on the other two. You're just kind of more worrisome, at least as a fan, when you look at those position groups.
When you talk about Arkansas's playmaking weapons, obviously Rocket Sanders comes to mind.
Yeah.
This is a guy who is probably one of the most unique players in the SEC, and he gives you something every single time he touches the football. How important is it to have a guy like that, especially when you have KJ Jefferson, who also can do so many different things with the ball? You've got options everywhere if you're Dan Enos.
Yeah, it's the great equalizer for Arkansas, not just on offense, but as a football team, is having potentially the best or the second best quarterback. Maybe if you want to put in the third, I can see that quarterback in the SEC, and you parlay that with either the best or second best running back, depending on where you put him and Quinshon Judkins. And there are other areas of the football team that are not SEC ready in terms of depth, but they've got several guys in the backfield that they can insert. We saw it last year in the bowl game where Rocket got injured. AJ Green, Rashad Dominion stepped up. And I think in Rocket's case, I was talking to him a little bit about this morning. This is a kid that, assuming after this season successful, is probably going to pursue an NFL career. He's entering his junior season. We've seen the shelf life for running backs. And I just like how he's approached this season, just looking at it from a team standpoint. And he's got game breaker speed. He doesn't have the number 5 Darren McFadden speed, but when he gets the football, it's just, you never know what's going to happen. And he played majority wide receiver at Rockledge in high school. That's what makes him so dynamic, is they had some injuries at the running back position. He shifted to running back, and now he's going to be first team All-SEC and an All-American in some cases, in some people's minds.
I think that's interesting, because it's interesting that you mentioned that he's probably going to leave. With the conversation that NFL running backs are having right now, I think I'd find somewhere that would pay me a little NIL money and just stick around. I don't know, but it is interesting that Rocket Sanders is just such a dynamic player. And you mentioned that you guys have some position groups that may or may not have SEC quality players. The defense wasn't very good last year.
That was horrible.
Where does that change?
Hopefully in the passing defense side of things.
Hey,
so,
we feel you there.
Yeah, listen.
Tennessee fans know.
Yeah, listen. And Heupel was on this in the offseason, that they've gotten better on defense. So I think he likes where they're at. But listen to this stat. So Arkansas, from a passing defense standpoint, was at one point, I don't know if they finished the season like this. They could have, because they gave up a lot of yard to Jalen Daniels in that bowl game. The worst in Power 5, the worst in Group of 5, the worst in all of D1 football, the worst in other divisions as well in terms of passing yards per game. That's where Arkansas was at one point. You bring in Marcus Woodson, who had a steady defense passing-wise against for Florida State. You bring in Travis Williams, who knows the SEC landscape. Bring in Darren Wilson. You've got some other pieces that you added out of the portal. Jaheim Singletary out of Georgia. You've got Walcott and Snacks Johnson from Baylor and some other guys. Jeff Coat and some other pieces. But particularly in the secondary, I think you're going to see marked improvement because, guys, you can't really get any worse than they were last year from a passing standpoint.
Ty Richardson, host of the Morning Rush at ESPN Arkansas, joining us here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Ty, I think this has been discussed over the last couple of days. Who was it? Brooks Carter?
Yes,
that
Brooks
put together the montage of all of the SEC head coaches with longer hair. We decided that Sam Pittman was most likely to be able to pull that look off. Have you seen that, and what did you think of it?
So he's SEC stat cat, right? I'm assuming.
It's at Brooks A.
Carter.
Brooks
Okay.
A. Carter.
I would think Sam Pittman could pull it off. I could see him. He's got the jukebox in his coach's office, and he listens to all different types of music. He doesn't have one genre. He's not just a country guy. He's not just a jazz guy. He's spoken to several different entities of music. And so if there's anyone that could pull it off within this conference, it's Sam. I think he has a personality. Some guys are rigid. Some guys are football only. But, oh, wow. I like it. Yes.
I mean, I think you should try it.
I think give it a whirl. Yeah, that's
that's solid, right?
I think he's sported out. As someone that dons the long hair, I would be highly in favor of Sam Pittman growing his hair out a little bit. I like it.
I think it's a good look for him, man. I think he could pull that off. But in year 4 at Arkansas, 3-7-20, which 20 was 20, but 9-4, 7-6. Feel like he's on the right trajectory for Woo Pig Suey fans?
I hope so, Mo. So 2020, they had a couple games. They had the Auburn game where Bo Nix fumbled that spike. Arkansas should have gotten the ball. They didn't. It was an inadvertent whistle or whatever. Auburn kicks the game-winning field goal. There was also another game or two, I think, that came down to the wire. 2 years ago, they won a lot of one-score ball games, and then last year they lost 4 games by 9 points. So that's the stat that people coming back to. It's like they're close. They're almost there. This year, it's just the stretch, man. Everyone's going to talk about the stretch of where you start in Baton Rouge, then you go to Jerry World to take on Texas A&M, then you play Ole Miss and Oxford, and then you finish up in Tuscaloosa. There's no tougher stretch in college football. If they can get out of that 2-2, I think Razorback fans will be happy. This is not Athens. This is not Tuscaloosa. They're not expecting SEC West titles or SEC championships every year. 7-5, 8-4. You can stay around that, maybe compete for an SEC title once every 5 years. You're going to keep most fans happy in Fayetteville.
And it seems like, Ty, as we get you out of here, 10 presumed starters coming back on both sides of the ball, but the starters that are coming back possess a lot of talent. And if it's going to be Arkansas with any sort of success this year, it'll be that talent carrying the team, it seems like, until they can find that experience and that seasoning.
Yeah, and it's a combination. We're going to see it more and more in college football where you have the guys that have been at the school, whatever, the incoming freshmen that maybe crack the rotation, and then the transfer. Sam Pittman's hit on the transfers to this point. He's done a pretty good job, him and his staff, and you just hope that the guys they brought in, some of which I just referenced, will be contributors, be playmakers, and be ones of value. Because if you miss in the portal, if you're taking less high school kids, or if you're counting on a guy with so much shifting back and forth, guys leaving, coming and going, it's going to spell trouble for any program, especially for a program that doesn't necessarily have the blue blood depth like Arkansas.
Ty Richardson here again, host of the Morning Rush on ESPN Radio in Arkansas. Ty, thanks so much for taking the time with us. We learned a lot about Arkansas here, and looking forward to seeing another year of Sam Pittman, because let's be honest, we're fans. I'm a big fan of Sam Pittman.
I'm a big fan of Sam Pittman's. I'm a big fan of KJ Jefferson. I kind of feel like he's must-see TV on Saturdays, and looking forward to him getting off to a good start and kind of staying in that Heisman mix, hopefully. So we'll see how that goes.
I hope so, Mo. Chris Wade, appreciate you guys having me on. Thanks for hosting us in Nashville, man. That's been awesome.
It has been fun. It really has. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll dissect the schedule and more right here on Main Street Sports Today.
Justin Hilliard, attorney at law, is dedicated to representing your family. As a native of Middle Tennessee, he understands the importance of family and is passionate about helping families in need. Justin handles all family law issues, including father's rights, child custody, and paternity determinations. He is a voice for your family and will work to get you the best results possible. Call Justin today at 931-906-0088 or visit gsclegal.com.
We are back in the Grand Hyatt at SEC Media Days kickoff event. Talking Arkansas football. Thanks to our friends at Jeff Grimes, and we'll tell you about them in just a few minutes. Let's go through this Arkansas schedule, starting off with Western Carolina in Little Rock. Whoa, Little Rock. That's right. Then they get Kent State. How about this? Big 12 foe, Brigham Young.
Big 12 foe.
I don't think that was the I guess they were an independent at the time and they accounted
Probably.
as P5.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, BYU at home. So starting off with 3 home games before they have to go to LSU, you got to feel good about those first 2. That BYU game could be tricky.
It could be tricky, but again, it could also, that kind of cross-regional matchup like that could be a game with some national eyes on it and an opportunity for, KJ Jefferson to, kind of project his Heisman candidacy right there.
Yeah, I mean, not only that one, but of course next week against Jaden Daniels, who is also probably going to be in that Heisman discussion as the season continues. LSU in Baton Rouge, that's a tough game, obviously, for this team. And Jaden Daniels, the way that he progressed throughout the year against this Arkansas pass defense that has to have improved, but probably not enough to make too much of a difference against a guy like Jaden
in
Daniels.
that game.
Yeah.
They will be challenged mightily in that game.
What's the line on that one?
On the LSU game?
LSU, Arkansas, yeah.
LSU by 2 touchdowns. 13.5.
That's
not necessarily surprised.
No, not really.
I'll be interested to see how much
obviously
that
this will change before.
I'm sure.
Maybe.
Well, it depends on
it'll change one way or the other. I got a pretty good feeling.
To BYU, yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I feel like you beat BYU and you got a really solid footing going into SEC play.
Yeah. And one thing I do want to point out is Vegas gives a little bit of respect to BYU, but this is not as good of a BYU team as they've had in the last couple of seasons. So firmly in that very winnable game category for Arkansas. So you're right, sitting there at 3-0, and then the LSU game, see what happens there. If nothing else, it's going to be an electric battle of 2 really good quarterbacks going toe-to-toe when those 2 teams get it on. And then the interesting game, you asked about Vegas and lines. The following week in the big game down in Arlington, Arkansas only a 3.5-point underdog to Texas A&M. That will be a big, kind of a must-see game. Anything at Jerry World is kind of must-see television, but that will be an electric game. It always is, and I think this year's game was an iconic game last year.
Yeah, I mean, so is that would you guys classify that right now, what you know, as a toss-up or a Texas A&M win?
I kind of feel like that's a toss-up.
I do too. It's a neutral site. It's in a dome. You never know what's going to happen.
And I don't know. I guess I don't feel comfortable enough with what I know about Texas A&M to feel like they're just a drop-dead favorite in that ballgame.
Apparently, Vegas doesn't disagree.
Based on what I know at this moment, I lean Arkansas, but I'm slightly a little more optimistic on Texas A&M than most this year. But as it stands right now, yes, I like Arkansas in a tight game. And like we said, That's going to be an electric noon kickoff when those two teams get it on at Jerry World. Final Saturday in the month of September.
That's a tough stretch. LSU on the road, A&M, neutral site, Ole Miss in Oxford, Alabama in Tuscaloosa before you get Mississippi State at home. That's a 4-game stretch. It's good it's not backwards.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, I think so too. But again, I mean, LSU, A&M, Ole Miss, Alabama. Oh, and then Mississippi State. In successive weeks. No open week
No
there.
open week.
But speaking of open weeks, Mississippi State will be coming off of a bye, which could be useful for the Bulldogs coming into that game. That is a brutal 4-game stretch for Arkansas, smack dab in the middle of the season.
Stretch.
5 games, excuse me.
Yeah. Now that when you add in Mississippi State coming off that open week, and maybe if you don't win any of those games in that 4 stretch, you're really struggling.
Yeah.
Getting back home against Mississippi State. Then you got Florida in
After an open day.
You got the open date. Then it's Florida in Gainesville. Get Auburn at home. Then Florida International. And then, of course, you play Missouri on that Friday after Thanksgiving. Get them at home as well.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, is this team better than the 7-6 record they had last year?
Vegas has them right on the nose at 7 games. So, hey guys, you tell me you have a Heisman caliber quarterback. I'm going to give you at least just one more win. I can see him getting to 8 wins in this, even though this schedule is really, really challenging.
I think 8 is probably the max.
Okay, I'll look at that.
But I think 8 is. I don't think 8 is out of reach. I do think 9 is out of reach.
I think it depends on A&M, and it depends on Ole Miss. I think.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got 3 to start. A&M, let's say they win A&M Ole Miss. That's 5. Then I think if they win A&M and Ole Miss, I think they beat Mississippi State. Then I think they beat Florida. They beat Auburn at home.
And Mississippi. In Missouri.
Auburn at home.
And FIU.
FIU at home. And Missouri.
Yeah, that's not.
I think if they win those 2 games,
you may be looking at 9.
9 may be the ceiling. I think 9 is close. It would be really difficult, and they're going to have they would have to play really good football. But 9 is definitely the max.
Absolutely.
Which is tragic. Like Ty told us, that the Heisman Trophy, more often than not, comes down to that team success award.
Sure
and as talented as this guy is, at his
8 or 9 may not be enough.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. He's going to have to put up some eye-popping numbers, unfortunately. Probably even get an invite to New York.
They're going to have to lose games Big 12 style.
50-48.
Yeah, they're going to have to. They're going to have to. When they lose, they're going to have to lose
big and close.
Big, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah.
All right, that's going to do it for Arkansas. We appreciate you guys being here with us on SEC Football Media Days kickoff, and we want to tell you thanks to Jeff Grimes and the fine folks. Tell us about it.
Our coverage of the Arkansas Razorbacks segment from SEC Media Days is brought to you by Justin Hilliard at Jeff Grimes and Associates in Clarksville. Justin is a graduate of the University of Tennessee College of Law, where he participated in family law litigation in the Advocacy Clinic, in addition to interning with the Federal Defender's Office. He is currently licensed to practice law in all state courts in Tennessee and is a member of the Tennessee and Clarksville Bar.
All right, that's going to do it. Until the next one, we'll talk to you guys later. Since 1975, Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint Clinic has treated the orthopedic needs of Middle Tennessee residents. The trained physicians provide surgical options and minimally invasive options to treat all orthopedic needs. The walk-in clinic, OrthoQuick, helps you bypass the ER while treating sports injuries and acute needs Monday through Saturday. Visit MTBJ online at mtbj.net or on social media at Mid-Tennessee Bone Joint Clinic.
Tired of hanging lights every year? We get it. That's why Southern Nights is here to help. We install programmable lighting on your home or business so you can enjoy beautiful, customizable lighting all year round. No more ladders, tangled lights, or cold nights outside. We do the work, you do the celebrating. Call Southern Nights today and take the hassle out of holiday lighting forever. For a free quote, give us a call at 931-241-3074 or visit our Facebook page at Southern Nights.
If you're looking to buy or sell in Dickson County, Tennessee, call Tim Southerland at Rolling Hills Realty. As a seasoned realtor, Tim knows how to get you the best price for your home. Selling your home is one of the biggest decisions you'll make, so trust the expert. Call Tim Southerland today at 615-720-1568 or visit rollinghillsrealtydixon.com.
Complete Service Heat and Air is a trusted provider of top-notch heating and cooling solutions dedicated to ensuring optimal comfort and efficiency for residential and commercial spaces. Complete Service Heat and Air is located in White Bluff, Tennessee. We do service and repair on heating and air the right way 24/7 service. Call us at 615-797-3997. Serving Cheatham, Davidson, Dickson, Hickman, Humphreys, Montgomery, and Williamson counties.
It's time for Main Street Media Television's exclusive coverage of SEC Media Days, driven by Complete Service Heat and Air, your trusted provider of top-notch heating and cooling solutions, dedicated to ensuring optimal comfort and efficiency for residential and commercial spaces. Complete Service Heat and Air is located in White Bluff, Tennessee. We do service and repair on heating and air in the right way. 24/7 service. Call us at 615-797-3997. Serving Cheatham, Davidson, Dickson, Hickman, Humphreys, Montgomery, and Williamson counties. Now, let's go to downtown Nashville and join Maurice Patton, Chris Yao, and Wade Neely as they broadcast from the Grand Hyatt.
Welcome back in. Main Street Sports today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and a joint live from SEC Football Media Days kickoff event at the Grand Hyatt in downtown Nashville. And we are now talking a little Florida Gators. And our coverage of the Florida Gators is brought to you by Timothy Warren at Jeff Grimes and Associates in Clarksville. Timothy is a criminal defense attorney who possesses excellent verbal and written communication skills, as I messed up saying. Timothy has better verbal communication skills than I do. For successful negotiation, effective leadership, and meaningful client communication, Timothy has an exceptional passion for helping others and diligently works to ensure his clients' rights are fully protected. Call him today at 931-906-0088 to learn what your rights are and how to fully protect them. Mo, I'm going to let you introduce this guy because you can say his name.
Well, I hope I can. I had him say it to me, so I hope I can say it back. 3-year starter at center for the Gators, Kingsley Igwakan.
Yes, sir.
Joining us here on Main Street Sports today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint, as we continue our SEC Football Media Days coverage. Kingsley,
Yes, sir.
Thanks for being with us, man.
Of course.
I know this has been a long day for you, and appreciate you taking some time. 3-year starter at center. Started as a freshman.
Nah, not as a freshman.
Okay.
In my third year.
You're in your third. Okay, you're going into your third year.
Nah, I'm going into my last year.
Oh.
I've been starting since my red shirt, I think sophomore year.
Oh,
Okay.
That's how they got you.
Okay.
Yeah. It's
All
because
right.
the COVID and stuff, it messed everything up.
Yeah, that's how they get you.
It messed everything up. So coach calls me a COVID junior. I don't even know what that means, but
We'll just let it ride.
you know what I mean? Yeah.
It's like, I'm just here, and I know when I'm leaving. That's all I got.
Yeah, man.
Obviously, snapping it to Anthony Richardson last year.
Yeah.
Snapping it to somebody else this time around.
Right.
For you in particular, as a center, how big is this transition to another quarterback?
Honestly, I would say the biggest change from quarterback to quarterback is kind of just their mental capacity and kind of what they know, because ultimately they can change anything that's happening within our blocking scheme. Anthony had a great understanding of the offense and knew how to change things where it needed to be changed. And I think Graham, Jack, and Max, the three guys competing for the job, are going into it that same way, kind of trying to learn the offense like the back of their hand so they're comfortable enough to go out there and make those calls when those calls need to be made. So I don't think for me necessarily, especially since our cadence is the same and, you know what I'm saying, we go about the same operations, I don't think that much has changed for me. But I would say more so it's just the mental game at the quarterback position.
Year 2 under Coach Napier. What have you guys? How have y'all like shortened the learning curve? I guess from year 1 to year 2 with a new coach.
Yeah, so I think just having a lot of guys who have been within the program for the year or more, it's good because we know what we need to do. We know how we need to do it. We know where we need to be at when we need to be there. And all the young guys kind of just follow the vet's leads. So it's not really much of a learning curve anymore. More so just bringing the young guys along with us and showing them the way, showing them how we do things.
Now, obviously, we all know games are won in the trenches. You know that.
Yeah.
And Florida has struggled the last couple of years in asserting their dominance in the trenches. How do you feel like that changes this year? You guys got some returning starters. Got to feel good about your potential in the offensive line, particularly.
Yeah, so I think it's just a mentality thing. I think if guys go out there with the mentality that they want to dominate every opportunity that they get, I mean, the sky's the limit. And me being the leader of that room, I think it's going to be up to me to kind of gel those guys together in order for us to have one cohesive unit and kind of work the way we need to work for this team to be successful.
Taking on that leadership role, but I got to ask you, Kingsley, as a center, you hear a little bit about the punters and some of the other position groups. I want to know, is there a fraternity of centers who sometimes kind of get the rap as being the underrated part of the offensive line? Have you guys got any sort of union or anything? You talk to any of your other center colleagues across the nation? Are you guys working to get something going maybe? Because I'm trying to hook you guys up because I feel like y'all are such a key piece and sometimes you guys get overlooked.
Yeah, definitely. So, I mean, I don't know if we're really unionizing or anything.
We're going to start a grassroots movement throughout the course of this season, partner.
I got you. But, I mean, man, honestly, I just want to win games. Like, all the extra stuff's going to come how it comes. But at the end of the day, if you win games, the notoriety is there. If you win games, everybody wants to rank you high. If you win games, everybody wants to draft everybody on your team. So at the end of the day, like, yeah, you might not get as much recognition as you want, but I don't play this for recognition. I play this because I love playing football, and I play this because I worked so hard to get to where I'm at, and I don't want to have to stop playing anytime soon.
Well, we see you guys and we recognize you. Also want to point out degree in criminology.
Yes, sir.
Already in hand, which is obviously a big thing, and SEC academic honors competitor.
Yeah.
What does that add? Obviously, so much about this week is put on football, but talk to us about your academics and just especially with Florida being a great institution, where that fits in your piece of the puzzle going forward after football.
Yeah, so schools kind of always came easy to me. I'm a smart guy, I would say, and I handle my business because I don't like to just mess around. It's not. So, I mean, school's been an important part of my life because my grandma was a teacher, principal. My mom's a teacher right now. And I felt like, what if I'm going to be here, I might as well get these degrees. Like, what am I doing sitting around, lollygagging around, not handling my business? And it makes my family proud, like, when I do stuff like that. So, yeah, I got my bachelor's in criminology, and I'm actually working on my master's degree right now, which I should have in December. But, yeah, man, I just didn't see any reason to be there. I'm about to take classes anyways, so might as well get the degrees, right? And, like, even for this master's program, like, I have to take classes to stay eligible regardless. And, like, they keep giving me the option to not do it. But, like, well, I'm still taking classes. I might as well take classes towards another degree. So, I mean, it's played a huge role for me.
That's awesome. That's really awesome. Florida Center Kingsley Iguacan joining us here on Main Street Sports today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. got your criminology degree, but I want to hear about this this gator that they had you draw earlier today.
Man, they had me draw a couple gators today. That one was really the not better of the two. But yeah, man, they told me go in there, give it my best shot. They gave me like a minute to doodle something up, and yeah, I threw it on there. I've been around the logo for so long now, it kind of came second nature. It's not that great, but hey, we tried.
It's pretty good. Considering.
It beats anything I could have done for sure. Kingsley, you know, you're in the SEC East, two-time defending national champions in the SEC East.
Yeah.
What's it going to take to topple them in Jacksonville this year?
Yeah, man. I've mentioned this so much today. I think it's all about mentality. I think if everybody goes in with the dominating mentality and the mentality that we're here to compete and dominate, I mean, I don't think anything can stop us. We have the same amount of talent as anybody else in the country. It's just ultimately going to be about guys being bought into what Coach Napier has laid out for us and attacking the work week. You can't be complacent with what you have. You can't lose the battle before you get into the battle. At the end of the day, it's just going to be about guys having the right mentality and just wanting to go out there and take that away from them, which me personally, I want to. So I just have to spread that energy to everybody else.
Kingsley, looking forward to seeing you on Saturdays. It's going to be
Sure.
a lot of fun watching your Florida Gators. Really excited to see what you guys put on the field this year in that second year of Billy Napier, because obviously we saw what he did at a lower level. See if it transfers to the SEC. You guys certainly feel like it could and should. So we'll check you out and be watching the center position, because
I'm telling you, folks, I'm starting a movement.
start that movement.
Yeah.
Thank you for taking time with us today. We
For
really
sure. I
it.
appreciate y'all having me.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
For sure.
We're going to take a break. When we come back, more on the Florida Gators right after this.
Appreciate you, man.
When it comes to family law, you need an experienced attorney you can trust. Samuel Knowlton Jr. at Jeff Grimes and Associates is here to help. With years of experience in family law, divorce, custody, and criminal defense, we know how to get results. As a U.S. Navy and National Guard veteran, as well as a retired Clarksville police officer, Samuel brings a unique perspective to every case. Put your family in the hands of a team you can trust. Call today at 931-906-0088 or visit gsclegal.com.
Welcome back into coverage of SEC Football Media Days on Main Street Sports Today. Of course, Main Street Sports Today is here thanks to our friends at Complete Service Heat and Air. Make sure to go check them out if you're looking for someone in the heating and air business. Mo, Florida is not a team I want to see succeed. Ever.
With all due respect to Kingsley Iguacan, really appreciate him sitting down with us, spending some time with us. Seems like a really good guy. I find it
And
tough,
I hope he doesn't give up a sack all year.
except
But I hope they lose every game.
yeah. I mean,
That is cold-blooded.
it is.
Now, I know
but-
we're talking about Gators, but that
Yeah.
is cold-blooded.
Yes,
I
that
know
is.
it's really
We're talking about-
cold-blooded.
We're talking about Gators.
I don't care.
We're talking about Gators. I honestly cannot think of a situation other than
I
maybe
wish
when
McNeese would beat him.
other than maybe when Will Dalton was playing baseball down there, the
Yeah.
former Summit and Columbia State outfielder.
That's that.
Other than that, I cannot think of very many times when I would have actively rooted for a Florida team.
I will never root for a Florida team.
So,
I mean, I can root for individual people as individuals and,
I
hope
would
that
root, for Kingsley.
hope
He
you
seems
do
like
good,
a nice
buddy.
enough guy. Yeah.
You did. Yeah, fantastic snap. Way to go.
Yeah.
That's all I care about. I hope the quarterback fumbles it or throws an interception immediately.
Mhm.
Every play. But probably not going to happen.
It's probably not. Although I tell you what, man, right off the bat, they go to Utah.
And apparently are studying altitude right now,
studying altitude.
and how to combat the altitude they will be dealing with in
Well, that makes sense. I
Salt Lake
guess.
City.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Obviously, last year nobody expected them to win that game. Utah goes on to win the Pac-12,
Mhm.
and let me just say this: I'm going to throw this out there. I clearly do not want Florida to win,
Mhm.
but when they do, and it comes, and there comes to a discussion of how tough and difficult the SEC is, I'm definitely going to take the win, and I'm going to use the win, and
To build your
to
argument.
build my argument, and that is one that you have to use. The seventh best team in the SEC beat the Pac-12 champ,
There you go.
and it's going to be a tough one. I can't see Florida going out there and getting the win. I think that's the difficult part. Is
With a quarterback making their first start.
well, for Florida, if it's Graham Mertz coming from Wisconsin, I mean, you're going to have at least experience in some degree.
Yeah.
Now, if it's not Graham Mertz, then yes.
Yeah.
And I'm going to sit here right with you guys. And the old Michigan fan in me will come out a little bit here because Jim Harbaugh's first game he ever coached at Michigan, they go out to Utah, and they ended up playing a heck of a lot closer than I expected they would, but they lose that game. The first game of the season at altitude, like you mentioned, new quarterback potential, or definitely a new quarterback to Florida without question. On a Thursday night, no less.
Oh, yeah.
That place will be rocking. That place will be rolling. Utah is right now, as we said, a 9-point favorite. Definitely looking like a tough game to start year two for Coach Napier.
But then McNeese, obviously, you feel good about that. And then the third week of the year, as it is every year, it's Tennessee and Florida. This year it's in Gainesville. What does that mean? How does Tennessee go into Gainesville and get a win? They've not won a tough road game under Josh Heupel yet. I mean, against an opponent like that. They went to Athens, went to Columbia, obviously lost to Alabama 2 years ago. I mean, you got to get that big road win, and this would be a huge one.
That's the
for the
next
Vols.
big milestone, flag in the ground type victory for Heupel is a big SEC road win like that.
And then after that, they've got Charlotte and then Kentucky and Lexington. We talked about this with Kentucky. That's a game that Kentucky feels like they can win.
Well, yeah. I mean, after winning at Gainesville last year, it would make sense that they would think they could win. But,
Vanderbilt won at Gainesville last year, too, and then you just keep going.
Yeah.
They got to come here.
And I think that's a stretch. Kentucky on the road, Vanderbilt in the swamp, and South Carolina on the road that could really tilt things in one direction or the other for Florida.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they strike me kind of like we talked to Mississippi State yesterday. Seems like, and Auburn to an extent as well, this season could go a number of different directions, and those couple key games right there in the middle, that is literally going to see. You're going to see a team either fall completely off a cliff, or you might see a team kind of rally, and then back half of the season, well, as we'll talk about the schedule in a second there, back half of the season, a chance to maybe play not just spoiler, but really kind of be in the thick of things.
Absolutely.
Well, imagine if they somehow win either Utah or Tennessee and then roll off those three against Kentucky, Vanderbilt, and South Carolina, and all of a sudden going into Georgia, you're 6-1.
Coming off a bye week going into Georgia, you're 6-1. Then you finish with Arkansas, LSU, Missouri, and Florida State. Going to LSU, going to Como, finishing up at home against the Seminoles,
who are probably going to be right in the thick of the college football playoff chatter.
Exactly.
Depending on what they do against Clemson. I mean, you got to think that this Florida team, they could be as good as 6-1 going into Georgia. They could be as bad as 2-5.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, they could lose Kentucky, Vanderbilt, South Carolina all in a row, and their only wins be McNeese and Charlotte. So either of those two things could happen. I'm not sure which one will, but I feel like this Florida team is kind of in and Billy Napier is in a difficult position because he's still trying to figure out, how to build this team after the recruiting issues that Dan Mullen had. And there were certainly issues.
There were several, yeah.
There were issues. Vegas says give the Gators 5.5 wins this season. But Phil Steele, our good friend, who's we've been kind of glancing through his notes all this week, said that Billy Napier is kind of embracing and kind of galvanizing the team under that kind of underdog role. Said they make one of his potential for most improved teams this year, which obviously coming off 6 and 7, they obviously want to win every single game.
Speaking of Billy Napier,
cruising right by us here. Perfect timing. But with all that being said, the key is, can you maintain the confidence? Utah is going to be tough, as we've discussed. Tennessee will be extremely tough, as we've discussed. At South Carolina could be a tricky one. And then, obviously you got Georgia, Arkansas, and LSU kind of bam, bam, bam all in a row. So it will be very, very interesting for the Gators in 2023.
There's no question there. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch Florida lose a bunch of games. When they win, it won't be fun. We're going to take a quick break for us. This will be in the end of the Florida segment. We're going to record a couple of more of these things. So stick around if you want to. I think we're going to talk a little Arkansas in just a minute. So all of that and much more on Main Street Sports Today throughout the rest of the week here at SEC Media Days. Coverage again brought to you by Complete Service Heating and Air. And our Florida segment is brought to you by Timothy Warren at Jeff Grimes and Associates in Clarksville. Timothy is a criminal defense attorney who possesses excellent verbal and communication skills, also written communication skills, for successful negotiation, effective leadership, and meaningful client communication. Timothy has an exceptional passion for helping others and diligently works to ensure his clients' rights are fully protected. Call Timothy Warren at 931-906-0088 to learn what your rights are and how to fully protect them. We'll be back with more on MS_sports today, Twitter, and of course, Main Street Sports Day weekdays at 2 o'clock. Until then, we'll see you guys next time. Since 1975, Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint Clinic has treated the orthopedic needs of Middle Tennessee residents. The trained physicians provide surgical options and minimally invasive options to treat all orthopedic needs. The walk-in clinic, OrthoQuick, helps you bypass the ER while treating sports injuries and acute needs Monday through Saturday. Visit MTBJ online at mtbj.net or on social media at Mid-Tennessee Bone Joint Clinic.
Complete Service Heat and Air is a trusted provider of top-notch heating and cooling solutions dedicated to ensuring optimal comfort and efficiency for residential and commercial spaces. Complete Service Heat and Air is located in White Bluff, Tennessee. We do service and repair on heating and air the right way 24/7. Service, call us at 615-797-3997. Serving Cheatham, Davidson, Dixon, Hickman, Humphreys, Montgomery, and Williamson counties.
With Lee Company technology, the best handymen are hands-off. Lee Company techs have been using visual findings and other smart technology tools for years to add transparency and virtually take customers along. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on a roof. With Lee Company, technology helps us help you, no matter what's happening in the world or at your house.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50 plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, zioneagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's zioneagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today.
Did you know that up to 80% of us will experience back or neck pain during our lifetime? Many of you are offered surgery or addictive pain pills to relieve your chronic pain. At the Dr. Gill's Center for Back, Neck, Chronic Pain Relief, we have been leading the way to better health, naturally, and have helped tens of thousands of people right here in Middle Tennessee for the past 30 years.
I came to Dr. Gill about 10 years ago after my local doctors recommended surgery. I knew about Dr. Gill and wanted to see if he could help me. 10 years later, I am pain-free, no surgery, and no pain pills.
Surgery is scary, and over 40% of all back surgeries fail, creating a cycle of surgery and pills. There is a safer solution to your chronic pain. Make the call to the Dr. Gill Center for Back, Neck, Chronic Pain Relief today and get your life back. This office visit is normally $299, but call today and receive your initial consultation, report of finding for just $49. But hurry, this offer won't last long. Call 615-768-8743. That's 615-768-8743.
You can't see the sights without the sounds. From the crack of the bat to the roar of the crowd and everything in between, discover what Hit City has to offer. Spend your nights cheering on the Nashville Sounds at First Horizon Park with giveaways, fireworks shows, theme weekends, and more. Single game tickets are on sale now. Visit NashvilleSounds.com to claim your seat today.
Mid-Tennessee Bone & Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Maury County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic service, and our Ortho Quick Walk-In Clinic lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net.
It's time for Main Street Media Television's exclusive coverage of SEC Media Days, driven by Complete Service Heat and Air, your trusted provider of top-notch heating and cooling solutions, dedicated to ensuring optimal comfort and efficiency for residential and commercial spaces. Complete Service Heat and Air is located in White Bluff, Tennessee. We do service and repair on heating and air in the right way. 24/7 service. Call us at 615-797-3997. Serving Cheatham, Davidson, Dixon, Hickman, Humphreys, Montgomery, and Williamson counties. Now, let's go to downtown Nashville and join Maurice Patton, Chris Yao, and Wade Neely as they broadcast from the Grand Hyatt.
Welcome into a special edition of Main Street Sports Today, coverage of SEC Football Media Days here at the Grand Hyatt kickoff event in downtown Nashville. We are excited about this next segment, talking a little Kentucky football. And to do that, we have to thank our friends, Melissa French.
Yeah, Melissa French has been a trusted insurance professional for over 20 years. She and her team have been helping people across Tennessee and Kentucky with their insurance needs and making friends along the way. She and her staff can provide complete coverage for your home, car, life, and business needs. If you're looking for a local agent that will be there for you every step of the way, give her and her team a call at 615-338-9803. Are you in good hands?
We are in good hands because we have Kentucky's J.J. Weaver joining us here on Radio Row. J.J., thanks for taking some time with us.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, J.J., a lot of people didn't necessarily expect you to be here at the end of y'all season last year. You kind of had a decision to make, I guess, coming out of the Music City Bowl loss to Iowa. What brought you back ultimately?
My health. You know, I dislocated my elbow. Then last year I tore my ACL. So just staying healthy, you know. Right now I'm at 255. I gained like 15 pounds since I came back. So just being more consistent with my weight, working out heavy. Right now I feel like the best I can be right now. How strong I am, how fast I'm moving right now.
So being able to establish yourself healthily and show that to the next level decision makers, I guess, is a pretty big deal for you individually.
Yeah, my mental health was bad too. You know, I lost my father 2 years ago too. So just coming back with my mental health and my body right, get my body right, I feel like I'm gonna be more dominant than I ever been.
I'm sure that your teammates and the coaching staff are looking forward to that being the case.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You know, coming off of the way the season ended for you guys last year, again here in town with that loss to Iowa, how much of a motivator is that for you all as you head into 2023?
Man, big motivator. You know, last year we didn't have the pieces we needed. This year, Coach Stoops added all the pieces we needed. You know, adding a great quarterback, Devin Larry, transfer portal. We had at least a good transfer portal. Our O-line came back. You know, our big blue wall is back, I'll say. So just being more, adding more pieces we needed. Our offensive coordinator, you know, he came back from the league, so it helped us, help our offense and the defense. You know, we've been top 10 every year since Coach Barry White being defensive coordinator. So just being more consistent with the guys on defense, because I'm a defensive guy, so just being on the guys more.
Do you feel like that leadership role is kind of yours to take at this point? You are the leader of this team. You're here at SEC Media Days. That kind of makes you a big deal. Yeah. And do you know, how important is it for you to take that role on and be the leader of this defense?
Man, it's important. You know, when I came, my freshman year, I had Josh Allen. You know, Josh Allen was one of the biggest impacts UK can ever have. So listening to him, learning from him, and now how fast it came. I'm a senior now. That's wow and blessings. But listening to him, took what he told me and following his footsteps, I'm going to do the same way, because 2018, UK had one of the best seasons they ever had. So I'm just trying to follow the footsteps.
You know, it's funny. You say that you kind of watched Josh Allen when he was ahead of you. We've got a guy who I'm sure is watching you, Keaton Wade, on the defensive side of the ball. Tell us what you've seen out of him, you know, from the end of last season to now.
Now he got stronger and faster, I'll say. He just needed more technique, you know. And that's how I was too. We were just rushing off the ball in high school and stuff like that. Now we
get away with it in high school.
Now you got technique. So him adding technique and everything, he's gonna be so powerful, dominate this year. He gonna help a lot of us.
I would say so. And JJ, you mentioned two things. Number one, let's talk real quickly about your injury. How did the offseason process look for you as far as putting yourself first and trying to make sure that you're your best version of you to ultimately help your team?
Good. You know, it helped me focus on me, because that December, January, you know, it was hard for me to decide if I want to go or stay. So made that decision, and when I made that decision, I already knew what I wanted. All right, it's on me. I need to get my weight up. I need to go talk to a counselor about my father passed, and I need to eat right. I need to talk to my nutrition. So right now I eat like 6 meals a day, you know, just constantly putting nutrients in my body, staying healthy, hit the training room like 6 times at least stretch, hot tub, cold tub, you know, just trying to get my body right physically.
6 meals a day now. Is that counting snacks too? And
snacks, yeah.
Okay, and I got to ask, what's a go-to snack for you, especially as you're putting on this weight right now?
My go-to snacks ain't like ramen noodles and hot fries.
Okay,
those are two. Those are two
ramen
quality
noodles and good hot fries. I eat.
Hot fries are a favorite of mine. I don't know about these guys, but fantastic. Absolutely. I also want to ask you too. Speaking of ramen noodles, we all were college students, and that freshman year, we kind of get by on that. But then in the blink of an eye, and that's kind of where I wanted to get to with you, the college experience has kind of come to a close, and you touched on it a moment ago. Have you kind of had a chance to put things together that, holy smokes, this is the last ride? It's kind of like the last dance in a sense for you?
It really haven't hit me yet. You know, once it hit me, you know, it's going to hit you once you get put them pads on and stuff, like once you start hitting contact. But it really haven't hit me yet. It really I just really been focused on gaining weight, getting my mind right, being more leader for real.
You guys are certainly primed for another great season.
Yes, sir.
And we certainly are looking forward to watching you as a big part of that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you.
JJ Weaver at JJ Time, 2 E's.
Yes, sir.
Please.
At the end. And he's joining us here on Main Street Sports Day. JJ, thanks for taking some time with us, man. We really appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Good luck this season, and tell Keaton Wade that we said hello.
I got you.
Thank you, JJ.
Right, we'll
Thanks,
take
JJ.
a quick break, and when we come back, we'll talk about this Kentucky schedule and what we think we'll see out of the Wildcats this year.
Yes, sir.
This is Chris Yao with Main Street Sports Today. Every show, Mo Patton and I welcome friends from all across the sports landscape, from high school coaches and reporters to national, college, and pro sports personalities. You never know who might stop by for a chat. AP Tennessee sports editor, three-time Tennessee Sports Writer of the Year 2020 TSWA Hall of Famer. She covers the Titans, the Predators, the Grizzlies, college football, and hoops. Please make welcome Teresa Walker.
Former University of Tennessee, former Team USA Olympian, ex-Cy Young Award winner, R.A. Dickey. R.A., did I miss anything?
Man, that was sweet. Yeah, I need to listen to that before I go to bed every night. That was nice.
Has 5 sports Emmys. That's not bad for the other guy in Wham, Ryan McGee.
The other guy in Wham married the best-looking girl, Bananarama, so the other guy in Wham had a pretty good life.
From preps to pros, we're taking on the sports topics you care about. Tune in across Main Street Media social platforms at 2 p.m. or on demand on your podcast distribution platform of choice. Welcome back. There we are.
There you
Welcome
go.
back. Hey, there we are. This is SEC Football Media Days coverage brought to you by our friends at Complete Service Heating Air. This Kentucky Wildcats segment is brought to you by Melissa French. Don't forget to give them a call at 615-338-9803. Always helping you stay in good hands. Let's talk a little bit about this schedule. It starts out, fairly winnable. I mean, Ball State, Eastern Kentucky, Akron, those should be wins for this club in Mark Stoops, 5th year, 6th year?
No, it's more than that. He's been there.
Yeah, he's been there a while.
Yeah.
So
11th year.
Gee,
close.
I would have said closer to 8 than 11.
Yeah, I kind of with you. It seems like it just arrived at 11 seasons.
Yeah. And
for
got an
Stoops.
extension last year.
And has his own bourbon, right?
He does, but don't talk about Ball State right now. Don't speak ill of Ball State.
We can't be talking ill of Ball State as Ball State legend Blaine Bishop just walked by. Yeah, I'm glad he didn't hear us. Yeah.
But no, Ball State, Eastern Kentucky, Akron, those are games you ought to win. Normally you'd say Vanderbilt's a game you ought to win, but they did not win it last year, so.
And they may not win it this year.
You got a new quarterback, Devin Leary, coming in.
We've had that conversation before, and JJ just mentioned it. Devin Leary out of the transfer portal coming from NC State?
NC State.
But, we know who we feel like the quarterback should be. So.
And, you said it in the Auburn segment. You don't transfer out or transfer in somewhere where you don't feel like you can play.
Yeah. You definitely have some expectations when you're coming someplace out of the transfer portal, but I don't think Destin Wade is going to just say, "Oh, we got another quarterback." Okay,
sure. Now, those first 3 games you feel like are wins. Vanderbilt's a toss-up. Florida in Lexington.
After Kentucky just went to Gainesville and won last year, right?
You got to feel like that's at least a toss-up.
Mm-hmm.
You can't give them anything less than that, right?
You would think. And Florida's got a lot of questions.
So they could be as good as 5-0 going into that Georgia game. Now they got to go to Athens.
Mm-hmm.
It ain't going to be pretty.
Mm-mm.
No, sir.
Now, and then after that, they get Missouri, and then they're off before they get Tennessee at home.
Mm-hmm.
This schedule lines up pretty well for Mark Stoops.
And the back end of it is manageable as well. I mean, you've got Tennessee at your place. You go to Mississippi State. You've got Alabama at your place. You go to South Carolina, and you finish at Louisville.
I think you feel like Mississippi State and Louisville are definite should wins. South Carolina's probably a toss-up right now. I feel like they're equals in the conference. I mean, this is a potential 8-4,
9-3.
Yeah, this is an 8-9 win team.
Vegas, right there with you guys, says roughly 7 wins. So you're right. Kind of a swing game here, swing game there.
Right.
The at Vanderbilt obviously is going to be one to keep eyes on. we'll learn. Obviously, the winner will learn a little bit more, but we're going to learn a little bit about both teams that day because it's so early in the season. We maybe think some good things about Vanderbilt. We maybe think some good things about Kentucky potentially. And so that one will be the early test. But I'm with Mo here. The back half of the schedule, especially you never want Tennessee and Alabama, in 3 weeks. But if you got to, playing them both at home is not a bad draw. You're right about that. And then obviously you get to close with South Carolina in SEC play and then Louisville to wrap it up.
I think this is an 8 or 9 win team. Absolutely. It could be. They could win as few as 5 with the toss-ups. But I mean.
And I think a lot of it rests on what happens at quarterback.
Absolutely.
As they try to replace Tennessee Titans rookie Will Levis.
Should be fun. We'll finally get more clarity as obviously the year goes on, and especially like you said right here in Nashville.
And I was getting ready to say, wouldn't it be kind of funny, or the way the world works, if Kentucky after Levis leaves has maybe a little bit better season, number one, but then number two, I guarantee you no matter what happens, they're just hoping we don't get another Music City Bowl appearance. It seems like they're tired of that. I'm sure they've kind of came up with a little bit of a residency here at Nissan Stadium the last couple of years.
Yeah, and I'm not sure that that's anything that they necessarily want. So
I don't think it's anything that Scott Ramsey would ideally like to have. I mean, after a few years, it gets a little old. So anyway, Kentucky preview brought to you by Melissa French. Tell us about Melissa.
Melissa French has been a trusted insurance professional for over 20 years. She and her team have been helping people across Tennessee and Kentucky with their insurance needs and making friends along the way. She and her staff can provide complete coverage for your home, car, life, and business needs. If you're looking for a local agent that will be there for you every step of the way, give her and her team a call at 615-338-9803. Are you in good hands?
Thank you guys for hanging out with us. We'll be back with more, of course, on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Main Street Sports Today, Twitter at @MS_Sports Today. And, of course, from 2 to 4, live here from the Grand Hyatt. Till then, we'll see you next time. Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net.
Complete Service Heat and Air is a trusted provider of top-notch heating and cooling solutions dedicated to ensuring optimal comfort and efficiency for residential and commercial spaces. Complete Service Heat and Air is located in White Bluff, Tennessee. We do service and repair on heating and air the right way 24/7 service. Call us at 615-797-3997. Serving Cheatham, Davidson, Dixon, Hickman, Humphreys, Montgomery, and Williamson counties.
With Lee Company technology, the best handymen are hands-off. Lee Company techs have been using visual findings and other smart technology tools for years to add transparency and virtually take customers along. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on a roof. With Lee Company, technology helps us help you, no matter what's happening in the world or at your house.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50-plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, zioneagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's zioneagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today.
Did you know that up to 80% of us will experience back or neck pain during our lifetime? Many of you are offered surgery or addictive pain pills to relieve your chronic pain. At the Dr. Gills Center for Back, Neck, Chronic Pain Relief, we have been leading the way to better health, naturally, and have helped tens of thousands of people right here in Middle Tennessee for the past 30 years.
I came to Dr. Gill about 10 years ago after my local doctors recommended surgery. I knew about Dr. Gill and wanted to see if he could help me. 10 years later, I am pain free, no surgery, and no pain pills.
Surgery is scary, and over 40% of all back surgeries fail, creating a cycle of surgery and pills. There is a safer solution to your chronic pain. Make the call to the Dr. Gill Center for Back Neck Chronic Pain Relief today and get your life back. This office visit is normally $299, but call today and receive your initial consultation, report of finding for just $49. But hurry, this offer won't last long. Call 615-768-8743. That's 615-768-8743.
You can't see the sights without the sounds. From the crack of the bat to the roar of the crowd and everything in between, discover what Hit City has to offer. Spend your nights cheering on the Nashville Sounds at First Horizon Park with giveaways, fireworks shows, theme weekends, and more. Single game tickets are on sale now. Visit NashvilleSounds.com to claim your seat today.
Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Murray County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic service, and our Ortho Quick Walk-In Clinic lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net.
It's time for Main Street Media Television's exclusive coverage of SEC Media Days, driven by Complete Service Heat and Air, your trusted provider of top-notch heating and cooling solutions, dedicated to ensuring optimal comfort and efficiency for residential and commercial spaces. Complete Service Heat and Air is located in White Bluff, Tennessee. We do service and repair on heating and air in the right way. 24/7 service. Call us at 615-797-3997. Serving Cheatham, Davidson, Dixon, Hickman, Humphreys, Montgomery, and Williamson counties. Now, let's go to downtown Nashville and join Maurice Patton, Chris Yao, and Wade Mealy as they broadcast from the Grand Hyatt.
Welcome into exclusive coverage of SEC Football Media Days kickoff event here at the Grand Hyatt from downtown Nashville on Main Street Sports today. Today, we're talking a little Vanderbilt and excited to have our good friend Chris Lee joining us, and we'll get to him in just a moment. But first, we have to tell you that our Vanderbilt segment is brought to you by Melissa French, Allstate Insurance.
Melissa French has been a trusted insurance professional for over 20 years. She and her team have been helping people across Tennessee and Kentucky with their insurance needs and making friends along the way. She and her staff can provide complete coverage for your home, car, life, and business needs. So if you're looking for a local agent that will be there for you every step of the way, give Melissa and her team a call at 615-338-9803. Are you in good hands?
Like I said with the Kentucky guest, we are in good hands because we have with us from Southeastern 14 for now, not much longer, Chris Lee. You're going to get whole new shirts and everything, Chris.
Yeah, trust me, you've opened up a can of worms. It's been discussed a few times.
I bet.
When do you flip the switch?
New gear, huh?
Yeah, I mean, you can't buy much for now. You could, but
you're kind of stuck with yeah.
Right.
Gotcha. Chris, obviously a lot of transition over on West End, personnel-wise, facility-wise, just a lot going on over there. What is the overarching mood over there?
I think it's got to be optimism. I mean, the records on the court and the field haven't always caught up. I mean, baseball's baseball, and football's getting better. Basketball's been decent. It's not what they want, but I think the thing that really stands out, I mean, Mo, you grew up here too. I mean, if I told you Vandy's going to spend $600 to $700 million on facilities, you wouldn't have believed me. I wouldn't have believed me. And, getting a little bit in the NIL space too. I mean, you look around us and there's cranes everywhere we walk and closed streets, and it just doesn't even look like the town we grew up in, you and I. And it's kind of like what the shape of the athletic program is becoming a little bit. Now, look, they got to win games, and the problem for them is everybody else has already done those things that they're doing now, and they're further along in NIL. So, there's still a catch up there, but you've got to make the effort at some point. And I honest to God, I thought they'd probably get out of the big time athletics business before they'd make that kind of a commitment.
and it's nice to see, for folks who have put so much into that athletic program, a fan base that has been so devoted to them and that kind of thing. But I mean, we've seen pictures on Twitter this week of some of the work that's going on over there. Is there any concern that they're going to get this done in time for the season?
I've been asked that a million times. I have not gotten anything. I've not been digging around, all the way around, but I've not heard anything that indicates they're not going to. The things, someone asked me about this last week. Candace Lee, she does not get out ahead of herself on things. She said recently pretty definitively that they'd play there this year. So I'm guessing if she's going to go out and not hedge her bets, that they've got something, some way to do it.
On the field, Chris, what do you feel like the biggest question is regarding this Vanderbilt football team?
They've got a few. I think the biggest question to me on defense is can they cover anybody? They chalk a lot of their stuff up last year to pre-snap reads and not being in position. But and sometimes when you get in a foot race, if you get a bad angle, that's it. But when I watched it, seemed like a little bit more than that. They had trouble covering Will Sheppard in the spring. He's their best receiver. He was out for probably more than he was in the spring, and when he was in, they couldn't cover him. No, look, there's a lot of teams they're going to have trouble covering Will Sheppard. But to me, that's the kind of guy you're going to go against. They got to get better. They lost a corner to the portal, a starting quarter in Jadias Richard to Miami. So that was already a concern. It's going to be a bigger concern. I think running back is a concern. I think whoever their answer is, it's going to be a guy that didn't have a carry for them a year ago. They lost Ray Davis to Kentucky. And I think Cole Spence, that's not a name anybody knows unless you follow Vandy. He's a 6'7" tight end. He's really athletic, and he was a headache to cover in spring. He tore an ACL. He's going to miss the year. And so their tight end room was not very deep anyway. They lost 2 fifth-year seniors in Bresnahan and Schoenwald. And so that was kind of their hope, is that he could take over. Well, now they've got guys that have been there, but guys that really haven't played much because they weren't good enough to this point. So I think, to me, those are the three big concerns is corner, running back, and tight end.
Chris, I'm also curious. There was just a little bit of a sneaky factor about Vanderbilt last year, and you always hear about teams, well, you're not going to sneak up on us again this year. Did Vanderbilt kind of use up all that sneaky factor, or can they still be kind of in your estimation, a formidable foe that's capable of winning some big games this year?
Yeah, I think that's a question that's at the forefront. I mean, I've asked the same thing. I've said the same thing. Coaches always, they can play the four of us and tell you how formidable we are, but guys watch film, they watch scoreboards. They're also 18 to 23. And, does that message get through? Not all the time. And when you lost 26 in a row, you can say that till you're blue in the face, but you're playing a team that everybody knows the scoreboard. Well, they beat Kentucky. I thought, well, that'll get Florida's attention. Well, they won that one too. So, I think now having an off season for people to marinate on that and say, hey, they were close to having a 500 year. If you're on the other side on that, probably helps. But also, is that counterbalanced by the fact that you got kids who didn't know how to win, who didn't have confidence they could win games. Now they get a boost because they know how to win. So I don't know. Maybe those two cancel each other out where they don't matter, but I think that's a great question.
And you've also mentioned, obviously, the injuries kind of here and there, but position group-wise, what unit needs maybe to have the best season for Vanderbilt to be really successful this year, and what unit are you expecting maybe to have the best individual group, I guess, this year?
Well, I think it all starts with the quarterback room. If your quarterback can't play at a place like Vanderbilt, you're probably going to be in trouble. And so can A.J. Swann be the guy that he looked like he could be at times last year? Tremendous talent. But you see a lot of talented kids that look good as freshmen that fall in their face as sophomores, not just at Vandy, but anywhere. So I think that's the big thing. I think their quarterback room is probably at the top of their list of strengths. People forget they've got Ken Seals around. He started a couple of years for them and was pretty good at times. The last glimpse we saw of him was 2 years ago, and he didn't look great, but he also had 3 different injuries. And changing new coaches, new coordinators, it just was an awful year for him. So I think that, and they got a couple kids behind them too that are talented. So I think that's a strength, but it's also your starters only played 8 games or whatever it is. So there's still some questions. I think on the other side, the linebacker room is pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
They lose Anthony Orgy, but they bring in Prince Colley, who's a 5-star recruit. Mo, you grew up here. Transfer from Notre Dame.
Yeah,
and
played
look,
up in East Tennessee.
Yeah, and he's 2 years removed from that. I think he was a 5-star. He's probably starting at Notre Dame, but they don't ever get a kid at that level. And they got a couple other guys, Ethan Barr, who's here for Media Day. They got C.J. Taylor, who's half a linebacker, half a safety. He's debatably the best player in the whole team. Yeah, he did do that too. So, and they like the receiver room a lot with Shepard. They got some veteran guys behind him. I think those are the 3 that, when you ask, probably are the ones that are on the short list.
Chris Lee from Southeastern 14 joining us here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint here at SEC Football Media Days. Chris, are you surprised Ken Seals is still here?
A little bit, but he loves the school. I think he's a computer information systems guy. I think the education means a lot to him. Loves the town. He's a great teammate. Loves his teammates. I think Ken's always kind of had the mindset that, it might not be my job today, but I'm good enough to win it back tomorrow. I think 95% of kids
have that one.
Yeah, I mean, I think 95% of kids in his spot would have left, but he didn't.
Yeah.
Chris Lee here with us, and we appreciate you, Chris. Thanks so much for taking time with us. Looking forward to a great year of Vanderbilt football. I think this is going to be an interesting year because, to me, it all hinges on Wake Forest.
I want to ask one question before we – it all hinges on Wake Forest. Who'd have thought? But Clark Lee's extension that was announced this week, what is the impact of that? I mean, I think it allows him to recruit, but, just in terms of in the team right now, what's the impact of that?
I mean, I think it's got to help his situation with his team in recruiting. Look, you can argue after a 2-win season and a 5-win season was a little premature. They seem to be giving out a lot of contract extensions, but before significant work is done. But I'm not the one paying the bills. I think it does help him in recruiting. He's on brand with everything they want. He's an alum. It does send an outside message that we like what he's doing and he's pretty safe and he's going to be here for the long haul. And look, this is a league where, look what happens at Florida. Dan Mullen was 1 year removed from a 10-win season and doesn't even make it through the next season. Look, there were other things there and there was recruiting, but it's a big contrast to the other 13 teams that are in that league.
I think 2 wins to 5 wins there.
Yeah.
At least you feel like you're going in the right direction. And Clark Lee he's going to get Vanderbilt to a position where they could be competitive year in and year out if given that time. And it's clear that Candace Story-Lee wants to give him that time. So I think Vanderbilt's in a good spot right now with First Bank Stadium, obviously under construction and going to look fantastic when it's done. It's going to be a lot of fun. So again, Chris, thanks for taking some time with us, man. We look forward to that new gear next year.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Chris.
We'll be right back after this with more on Main Street Sports Today, special coverage from SEC Media Days kickoff. Welcome back into Main Street Sports Today's coverage of SEC Football Media Days kickoff event here at the Grand Hyatt, brought to you by our friends at Complete Service Heat and Air. Thanks again to Chris Lee for joining us, talking a little bit about Vanderbilt football as we continue our coverage of all 14 individual teams. You can find them on at @MS_sports today on Twitter. You can also find them daily at 4 o'clock on Main Street Media outlets, whether it be your Android app, your iPhone app, Roku, Amazon Fire Stick, or your Apple TV. Main Street Media TV, download the app today. Watch all of our shows on demand at your leisure, or you can also find our YouTube and Facebook, where all of these
Trying to meet you where you are.
That's right. Meeting you where you are. Let's talk about Vanderbilt football. First of all, you talked a little bit about the stadium. The stadium construction is ongoing.
Yeah.
And
literally.
here's the right around the corner, but for Vanderbilt, it's even closer.
It's right around the corner, like August 26th, a week ahead of everybody. Yeah. Vanderbilt kicks off against Hawaii. So as little time as you think they have, they probably have even less.
Well, I mean, it's a little over a month away. They're going to find a way to get into the stadium. I don't think there's any question there, and I don't think it's certainly not going to be finished.
Can't be.
I mean, you'd have to work 24-hour days.
Well, maybe that's the plan.
That's certainly one way to do it.
Chris said Candace Story-Lee feels good about it. Now, whatever that means, I don't know.
Hey, she's the AD.
Let her feel good then.
Yeah.
Hawaii in Nashville, which, Wade, you pointed out earlier. If you're going to play Hawaii, I don't know why you're not going to Hawaii. 2 years in a row, that's fine.
Yeah, you want a 2-year deal, obviously.
Who wants a home and home with Hawaii?
You're always thinking a home and home with the team, but of all the schools, if you're going to
you would give that home game up to, and maybe that's what maybe that's the plan for Vanderbilt. Our stadium's not going to be ready. We'll just come to y'all.
Now that is chess versus checkers type situation, and I love it. Yeah. Hey, you know what? We're not quite ready, but guess what? We'll come back to you guys.
We'll come to you again.
But you know what? But Hawaii players are like, I want to go to Nashville. I want to spend a weekend in Nashville. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if you live in Hawaii, you might get tired of Hawaii. I
don't know if you can get tired of Hawaii, but you might want to see some other places.
Yeah.
So
I don't think it matters where this game gets played.
I don't think so either. I think Vanderbilt's certainly going to be the favorite in that one. They'll be favored whether they play the Bulldogs of A&M here or in Huntsville,
or at the Pit in Lincoln County, wherever.
Is that halfway? That's what we're
yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, these are two games that Vanderbilt needs to win off top. Listen, we got to talk about this Wake Forest game. We mentioned it a minute ago with Chris, and I said the season hinges on it.
Because we have discussed this Vanderbilt team and this Vanderbilt schedule.
Almost every single prediction that I've seen on the interwebs has this as an automatic L for the Commodores, and I just don't see it.
I don't know why.
Based on what?
Sam Hartman's gone.
Sam Hartman's
at Notre Dame.
Dave Clawson is good.
He is.
He's done a great job at Wake Forest, and he may find the next Sam Hartman. He may have the next Sam Hartman. That may be why Sam Hartman is gone. I don't know. But what I can tell you is that Vanderbilt can win this game, even in Winston-Salem. I don't know what makes people think Wake Forest is just going to automatically win this game. It's a toss-up at best.
I don't know what makes this an automatic L for Vanderbilt or an automatic dub for Wake Forest. I don't think there's anything automatic about this game.
Outside of the Hawaii and Alabama A&M games, I don't know there's anything automatic one way or the other really about Vanderbilt outside of maybe a team like Alabama or Georgia.
Well, there is a Georgia.
Now, it is, and I was getting ready to go into that point was the very next week at UNLV. If you tell me that Vanderbilt will go on the road and beat Wake Forest, but then fall the next week to UNLV, I would believe that. If you tell me they go on the road and lose to Wake Forest and then clobber UNLV, I would also believe that. I feel like every week is kind of in a constant state of flux with this team until, and this is what they're striving for, they get that consistency that they're looking to churn. But they certainly have an eclectic non-conference schedule, if nothing else.
That's a good word for it.
Yeah, that is a great word.
Because, again, coming off of that trip to Winston-Salem, they go in the opposite direction and play at UNLV. I don't know how UNLV got a home game against Vanderbilt. They don't know how they got a home game.
Vanderbilt went to Colorado State, 2 years ago?
2 years, yeah.
So, I mean, Vanderbilt's not opposed to going on the road.
Yeah.
And Barry Odom, new head football coach for the Rebels. I would feel better about UNLV's chances if Bobby Petrino were still the offensive coordinator. But, I mean, I feel like Vanderbilt should win this game. But it's Barry Odom is a pretty good coach.
And he's a defensive guy.
So, but I think Vanderbilt could come out of this thing 4-0, going into Kentucky with a lot of momentum, having the Wildcats come here to Nashville. You beat them in Lexington last year. You've got Big Mo. They're coming off, they've got 3 wins over Ball State, Eastern Kentucky, and Akron. And, all of a sudden it's a 2:30 kick on CBS or something.
Wouldn't that be something? What if Kentucky and Vanderbilt both went into that game undefeated?
I don't think that. I think CBS has already spoken for that week because it's not Tennessee, Florida for the first time ever. But
it is LSU, Arkansas though.
I'm saying
that weekend.
Yeah. Okay. So you're right. Tennessee, Florida is the weekend before that. So, and that is not a CBS kickoff, but the next week has not been determined yet. So undefeated Kentucky and Vanderbilt, watch out.
How about this? Could be our good friend who was just on the Radio Row with us today. Derek Mason could be your analyst on the SEC network for that type game. How about that? Calling his old squad there.
That'd be interesting.
But, I mean, I would love to see an undefeated Kentucky, undefeated Vanderbilt in Nashville. I think there would be some good storylines there. And the winner of that comes out of it, especially Vanderbilt, who you win that one, and you got Missouri coming up next in Nashville, feeling pretty darn good.
And then you go to Florida the week after that.
That's where things probably – maybe you get brought back down to reality. I know you won against them last year here, but
they know that too.
They know that too.
Yeah.
You're a big music guy. It would be a proverbial record scratch in terms of their schedule. Once you get past Hawaii, A&M, Forest, UNLV, and then Kentucky and Missouri. After that, all you got, like you said, is at Florida and then Georgia the following week. Granted, it is in Nashville, but you got Georgia the following week.
Yeah, like I said, the last time we talked about this in the Georgia game, the First Bank or wherever they play at Nissan, or if they play it at East Nashville High School, it's going to be red and black. I mean, that's just the fact.
Yeah, it always seems to be the case. I don't expect it to be any different this time.
That's how you pay for your season tickets to Vanderbilt games. Is you sell the one big game a year to a Georgia fan for however much the season tickets cost. That's how much the tickets to the game cost.
And it's always the running joke. Alabama fans are some of the best Vanderbilt season ticket holders years they come to Nashville.
They are, in fact.
I mean, they'll buy them out just so they don't have to pay the top dollar the week of. You're right.
Sure.
So the back half of the schedule is not too tough either. Let's be honest. I mean, Ole Miss is who knows? We don't know what we're going to get out of Ole Miss. We'll find out, on Thursday here. But Auburn in Nashville, I think that's a winnable game. We just don't know enough about Auburn yet. South Carolina and Columbia, probably not going to win that one. Tennessee and Knoxville, definitely not going to win that one.
Highly unlikely.
Highly unlikely. So, I don't know. I mean, I think this is a bowl. I think this is a bowl-eligible team, potentially.
I think this is a bowl-eligible team, but they have to be bowl-eligible, I think, before November.
I think they can beat Auburn to get there.
No.
I mean, look, I think they could win the first 5 games of the year. Then they only got to win one more. I mean, I know they're all tough games. Don't get me wrong, but I think Missouri's a winnable game.
Sure.
I think Ole Miss is a winnable game. Auburn's a winnable game.
But I don't have a lot of confidence in those last two, like you said.
I don't have a confidence in those last two. I think this team is at best 7-5. At worst, I think they're
4-8.
4-8. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's the worst is you get 4-8.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, our friends out where UNLV plays football out in Las Vegas, 3.5 is the projected win total for the Commodores. And I'm with you guys. I feel like you're definitely going to split that Wake Forest UNLV at worst. I don't see him losing both. I could be wrong, but you're definitely looking at 2-0. Split that, you got 3 right there. And if you're talking Vegas only, then you're looking for one more.
Kentucky, Missouri, Ole Miss, Auburn. I think all of those are possibilities.
You'll take your chances with those.
Absolutely, hammer it.
And you got a new upgraded stadium. You got a new extension for Clark Lee. I mean, if Vanderbilt can kind of win that first 5, like we've discussed, suddenly all of a sudden there's a little bit of mojo, a lot of mojo over there on West End.
When we talked to Chris about Clark Lee's extension, he talked about how extensions have kind of preceded the work to some degree, or have preceded the scene success anyway. And you know, I think this would be very similar to the Stackhouse situation back during basketball season, where he got extended. They got off to a rough start. Everybody's like, what in the world are they doing? And then all of a sudden, 20 wins later.
Should have been in the tournament.
Yeah, absolutely. So you could see something similar to that happening with Clark Lee this fall.
Yeah, I don't think there's any question there. So, all right, fellas, let's get out of here and tell you about our friends at Allstate Insurance and Melissa French Agency.
Melissa French has been a trusted insurance professional for over 20 years, and she and her team have been helping people across Tennessee and Kentucky with their insurance needs and making friends along the way. She and her staff can provide complete coverage for your home, car, life, and business needs. So if you're looking for a local agent that will be there for you every step of the way, then give her and her team a call at 615-338-9803. Melissa French, are you in good hands?
You are in good hands if you are looking for SEC Football Media Day coverage, because you're right here with Main Street Sports Today on Main Street Media TV. We'll be back with more on Thursday. We'll have best of shows on Friday. If you need coverage from SEC Media Days, just keep it here. I promise you, we've got
it locked.
Keep it locked on right here at Main Street Sports Today, and make sure you're following at MS_Sports Today on Twitter. Justin Kulik on the controls. Alan McCall also on the controls, keeping those cameras rolling. Mo Patton, Wade Neely, Chris Yao from SEC Media Days saying so long.